This is the Gee and Ursula Show, and you are in for a treat. We are all excited. Unexpected visitor. G. Scott Jr. is here.
In studio.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, G. Jr. is 23 years old. He plays football at the Ohio State University. I've got that drilled in my head. So welcome, first of all.
Yeah, thanks for this. Unexpected. Thanks for having me.
So now I want to just mention the first text here, because we got a text message from a listener named Tracy who says, about a year ago, you visited her brother in the OSU hospital after he had a stroke. And she says you gave him a pep talk and encouraged him not to let the stroke define him. And it meant a lot to him. And he took those words to heart. He's doing great today. And he seriously credits you for a big part of that.
Wow.
And she says, thank you.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's
now,
very powerful.
I want to just give you a big fat hug for that, because that is such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like father, like son. I mean, how sweet is that? Okay, so the reason we invited G Jr. to come in, though, is you wanted to ask him some questions.
So this is where, the listeners, the listener questions are coming in.
Yes, they are.
Let's just go through it. Serene says, how proud of your dad are you when you look back on the struggles that you all had while you were growing up and who he is today? It's obvious hasn't been a shortage of love in the household.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say there's a lot of different avenues I can go with that, but very proud ultimately just to see all of the lessons, if you will, that I've learned throughout my life. It's been good to be able to see the fruits of those lessons come into fruition in your life, you know. So that's huge.
Can you give an example of one?
Yeah. There's you know how many there's been. I would say this isn't going to be, super punchline, a profound quote, if you will, but it's more of a concept. I think it's to be diligent and to work hard in all of the things that you do with the same, equity. And it's not just, you're not just going to be this football player, this jock guy that's going to, turn around and treat people bad. And
how you do anything is how you do everything.
Exactly. So I guess I could have came around with the punchline. Yes, that was something I heard a lot. Is how you do anything is how you do everything. And so the same intention I'm going to have with how good I am at the sport that I play is going to be the same way I attack school and my finance, everything. It's all kind of together. So like you said, how you do anything is how you do everything.
CH in the 206 says, as a grown man, do you like the name Baby G? Griffey did not like being called the kid once he grew up.
Nobody calls me Baby G, but my dad, and I said it's okay for radio's sake. I think even some of my other family members are starting to grow away from it. But it's kind of normal. It's normal. It's normal for me. That's kind of something I've always grew up hearing. So
yeah, it's said in a loving way.
Yeah.
Okay. Here is another question. This one from the punk rock plumber. Who do you think was wilder in their late teens and early 20s? You or your dad?
Not even close. It's not even close. It was me. I'll go ahead and answer that.
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I think my fun was different. I think. Yeah. I don't know. That could have gone either way.
I went to school in Ohio. I know how they party out there. I'm a Ohio University Bobcat. So I know how it goes out
425 says, question for G Jr. Tell the truth. Between you and your dad, who's better at video games? Now, before he answers that, first, he needs to answer how many times he's ever beat his dad at any game on video games.
Ooh. Well, you got to first back up a little bit and ask the question: how many times have we even played any game?
That's what I was wondering.
When you were younger,
did we used to play? Did we used to be on the game?
When you were younger,
yeah. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of my dad's obviously far removed from video game life,
for sure.
and I think I'm a couple years removed from really being into video games either. So I think we're both kind of past that one.
Can I ask a little?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can I ask a little bit about if you can give any insight into the experience of the college football game? I'm a big video game guy, and obviously I know how big this is. Can you give any insight into what's that like being a student athlete and that game?
Yeah, man, it's exciting. I think it's a dream come true. I think growing up playing the Madden video games, you see all the guys that being able to play with different characters. I think it's just really cool to be able to allow that to be collegiate athletes now. So I'm just super excited to be a part of it. I think the graphics look amazing in all of the previews that I've seen, and so I'm just excited for that thing to kick off.
360 says, from your college football experience, besides the Ohio State, what other stadium would you say was awesome to play in?
Yeah, I think last year when we played at Notre Dame, that was a very electric environment. I think from the crowd to how electric it was in there to the the actual presentation of the stadium, the lights that they did and going into the fourth quarter, all the things that they did. I think they did a really good job. I think that was probably one of my favorites in college so far.
Well, speaking of college experience, what are you hoping for this next season for you personally?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of things. Like, again, I can go down so many avenues with that. Ultimately, to be practical, I want to win a national championship. That's big. One of my big personal ones, though, is just to, in any kind of way, be the best absolute teammate that I can be. And that's obviously, lifting up the guys around me, but also being involved where I need to be involved and be very, helpful to my teammates. And when the guys on my team look to me, they look at a guy that's really helping this team pull and carry water towards where we want to be, is ultimately to win a national championship.
I want to pull back the curtain real quick because there's a lot of people, I get asked this all the time, right? They go, your son and in the playing time and this and that. Can you tell us and everyone listening right now, why didn't you transfer? Why didn't you leave Ohio State and go and chase playing time?
Yeah, I think that's the easy thing to do. I think if you carry that mindset and that that kind of character and way of living to life, you'll find yourself like a shrimp in the sea. You'll be here one day and you'll be here the next day. And I think ultimately one day down the line, 10 years from now, I think one of the most proud things I'm ever going to be is the fact that I stayed and I stuck it out. The amount of lessons that I've learned through hardship, I think it's the further we get into society, the more advanced our society becomes. I think we soften ourselves more and more to any kind of hardship. Anything hard, we want the opposite of it. We want everything contrary to hard. And I think one of the best things I've done for my own character development is to be able to sit there and sit in the presence of things that are uncomfortable and hard and almost start to be like, your body starts to respond and be like, man, this is okay. I'm gonna be okay. And so on the other side of it, just becoming a better man from the hardship. I think hard things make stronger people.
Okay. We need to ask the one question because Father G, you were saying we were talking about charging rent,
right?
And living at home.
So here's the story. Scenario came in. The young man, does not want to go to college yet. He just wants to work. The father wants to charge him rent. The mom's like, no, don't charge him rent. No, I'm not even going to tell you what I said.
I already know what you said. You said what I would have said. Charge that little boy rent. What are we talking about? Non-negotiable. You better have a job, too.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so what would be an appropriate rent?
I think there's so many. What's the mortgage? I think there's a lot of things that go into that. But I think some sort of financial responsibility is absolutely important. I think because you're going to start kicking the can down the road of catering to your kid and keep pampering them. At some point, that rubber is going to hit the road, and you got to let them be young men or young women. So don't push that back too far.
Okay, I'm going to just tell you, your dad is incredibly proud of you. And our listener, Linda, just texted in and said, your father's very proud of you and expresses it frequently. And just in the short amount of time that I've had to spend with you, I totally get it.
Thank you so much.
You're just a great human being. And I'm so thankful for you being here.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
That's just because we didn't have time for him to tell y'all some of how hard I was. We didn't have time. Hey,
I've heard some conversations. When she gets upset, or gets animated, we all hear it.
Yeah.
How about that? He still tells a story about when he didn't make the All-Star team down in L.A.
Man, that was wild. That was wild, man. There was there were some rough experiences on the way. Yeah, that was one. We're at a youth camp, a middle school youth camp, and at the end of the camp, they selected some of the best players, and I wasn't nominated as one of the best players, and that was a hard pill to swallow for the whole Scott family.
Those uncomfortable car rides. No. Well, thanks again for coming in.
Son, proud of you, man. Keep rocking. Matter of fact, it's crazy. People are texting in right now, and you're talking, and people are listening, and they're like, wow, sounds like his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see a career after your football career's over. I see a career in broadcasting for sure.
Hey, we'll see. Whatever. Yeah, whatever it may be.
Right.